And we begin tonight at 11 with the weather impact. When you head out tomorrow morning, you may have rain and fog to contend with. Thanks for inviting us in. So, Angela, a lot to talk about as we get ready for Friday.
And you could see both as you introduce that because we've got rain moving in on radar and those low clouds hanging over downtown. And for some, it's a dense fog advisory. So, yes, we've got fog and yes, we've got rain on the way. Let's start with radar showing the leading edge of that rain that's still to our southwest, but starting to move our way. It will have an impact on that morning drive. Here's the outline of that dense fog advisory. Areas north and west of Indianapolis, from Lebanon and Boone County to Frankfort and Clinton County up toward Lafayette, all the way until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Visibility near 0 in Greencastle, a mile in Lafayette, a mile in Muncie, 0 in Richmond. We may see that dense fog advisory expand. And then don't forget the umbrella. Rain on the way. I'll have the hour-by-hour timeline in a few minutes.
All right, see you in a little bit, Angela. Thanks. Now to the inevitable. It's not an Indiana winter without it. Tonight, our Logan Gay has her shovel ready. She's taking a deeper look at our city's plans for deeper snow. Logan?
Hey Scott, that's right. I have my shovel ready, and this time I hope to be only using it on my driveway and not on city streets, thanks to these new updates from DPW.
Indy DPW leaders say Mother Nature might be unpredictable, but its updated snowplow plan should make the city's response more predictable than in years past.
So this more clearly delineates where thoroughfares are addressed, where connector streets, which are more highly traveled residential streets connecting to thoroughfares, when those are addressed, and when residential streets would be addressed.
DPW is going to operate like they always have when it snows, but you'll see these updates in action as the snow piles up.
0 to 2 inches working on those thoroughfares. You get over 2 inches, 2 to 4 is when DPW and potentially contractors will start addressing those connector streets. And 4 inches or more is when DPW may deploy contractors for residential streets.
This plan marks a major shift from January, when residents and council members grew frustrated over the lack of plowing on residential roads after a heavy snow. 13 News later uncovered that in 2020, the city scrapped its 6-inch rule and moved to a system that only plowed connector streets, leaving many neighbors unplowed. Council members say the new updates fix that.
We opened the books on something that hasn't been touched in forever. We modernized it. I think the things you heard tonight truly are modernization. We now have residential streets being plowed. We're talking about GPS tracking. We have defined snow limits.
Now they say they're ready for whatever comes next.
I hope that everyone can appreciate that their voice has been heard on this issue, and I look forward to seeing the results when we have the first snow over 4 inches.
A lot of people put a lot of hours, a lot of thought into this, and so, I mean, hopefully we're more prepared than ever.
So if you live in the HOA community and they decide not to hire a private company, don't worry, DPW says they'll plow your roads too. Scott?
All right, Logan, keep that shovel ready. You'll need it this winter. New tonight, a library board of trustees meeting drawing hundreds of people in Zionsville. This is a story of opposing opinions about programming and content at the Hussey Mayfield Memorial Public Library. On one side, Hoosiers offering support to the library and efforts to encourage diversity and inclusivity. But others say some programming goes too far. They also question some titles featured in the library's section for children. Dozens of people took time tonight to share feedback with the library's board.
Our requests are simple. Keep identity-focused or adult-themed materials in adult sections. Do not promote drag story time or similar events to children.
My ask is simple. Let's trust our library. Let's trust parents to guide their own children, and let's keep our public spaces open, welcoming, and accessible to all members of the Zionsville community.
So for now, library leaders say they are not planning to take action, but they are listening to everyone's comments as they consider any next steps. Tonight at 11, the governor is stepping up pressure on fellow Republicans, saying he would support a change of leadership in the Indiana Senate. This is all part of this growing division among the GOP about redrawing Indiana's congressional map. The Senate voted this week not to come back to the State House until January 5th, weeks after the deadline for having a special session on redistricting. Senate President Pro Tem Rod Bray has said repeatedly the votes are not there. But Governor Mike Braun says he believes Bray is trying to shut down this issue. That's why Braun says he would support replacing Bray in any primary challenges to legislators who don't support redistricting.
I think it does carry political consequences. You can do it and stand on that hill, but then you're going to have to defend it. I think Rod needs to do the simple thing, get in line, at least bring it to a public discussion in his own chamber. And I think if that occurs, it's a different vote count too.
Earlier this week, Bray told 13 News that many in his caucus don't think redistricting is the way to gain more Republican seats in Congress. House Speaker Todd Houston said redistricting isn't dead in the House and asked members to keep the first 2 weeks of December open. Tonight, 5 state senators now confirmed they have gotten threats within the last week. 4 of them, Greg Good of Terre Haute, Dan Durnall of Highland, Rick Niemeyer from Lowell, and Spencer Deary of West Lafayette, say they were targeted by swatting attempts. None of the Republican state senators involved have voiced support for a special legislative session on redistricting. And because of similar cases across our state, Indiana State Police have now taken over these investigations.
These are dangerous. They're dangerous situations. They drain resources, and they're illegal.
These false emergency reports can come by phone, email, or other internet messaging. Tracking down the source will determine if this is a state or a federal crime and exactly what the charges could be.